All right, so this one is a bit of a doomsday topic. F-Droid,
Again.
F-Droid put out I guess a plea. I don't know. They are concerned with the recent Android developers decree.
Yes. Before we get into that, this is a long time coming. I have an Android Authority link. Because when I read the F-Droid thing, I was like, wait a minute, why is F-Droid so late on this announcement? And it turns out they were not. They were Johnny on the spot with their announcement because the previous announcement didn't actually affect them in this way. So back in June, there was, during the break, this is why we didn't talk about it. Well, also because it's Android, but Android is Linux, technically. So we should have.
Adjacent.
But we didn't, we weren't there. Anyway, so Google changed the way that AOSP works back in June, and that made all of the third-party ROM people very unhappy. And you're going to be like, oh yeah, it is very related to the F-Droid thing, because it is.
Oh, they tie together. They do. They really do.
So this was the first volley of changes that were going to happen that were going to make Android people very, very upset.
Right.
Well, Android people that cared about how Android worked is going to make them very unhappy. So AOSP made a change that essentially kind of brought the Pixel phones back behind the curtain of development, right? So just if you don't do third-party ROMs, basically what was going on for years and years and years was that all of the flagship kind of developer-type phones that Google was putting out, they would always put out all of the like hardware information about these phones as well, so that third-party ROM developers could take that and use that as a reference to then build their own ROMs on top of, right? So it would always work on the Pixel.
Yeah, that was the phone they used, yeah.
Right, but if you wanted it to work on the Samsung 55 or whatever, you would have to do a little reverse engineering, which is why some of the third-party ROMs supported some of the things and some of the third-party ROMs supported other of the things, and then they would collaborate, and then they would, oh yeah, this one works now too. But the point was, someone had to do the reverse engineering work if it wasn't a Pixel.
And that part's time-consuming, just going to say.
Exactly. But now, with this change back in June, you got to do the reverse engineering on the Pixels now too.
And so that's really time-consuming. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe impossible.
Yeah, you went from having to take it the last, and I'm guessing here, and I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong, but taking it the last 10, 20% of the way to get other devices supported, to now having to do 100% of that work now. So
sounds overwhelming to me in my view of it.
Yes. So it went from doing a lot of work to a whole lot of work. And I don't know if any third-party ROM folks gave up as a result of this, but I wouldn't see why that wouldn't necessarily
They're probably
be the
all
case.
going to try for a little while.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? Like it's gonna how much work is this actually going to be?
Right.
And then so all that so I mean, think about the way that
strike number one. Yeah.
Right. So luckily you kind of have an idea of how this stuff works. So it's not as huge of an undertaking as, like, say, the Asahi folks were doing, because they had to reverse engineer the Apple M1 chips and all the hardware from literal scratch. At the very least, you know something about how these Pixels work, but I imagine every new iteration of a Pixel is going to be...
Yeah.
Right. So while I think over time it's going to diminish, there's going to be new problems every new phone, every new handset that comes out, you're going to have new problems. So strike one, right? And now we come up to what Dan was getting to with the F-Droid thing. So okay, so I'll stop now, and you can.
And so, like, if you don't know, F-Droid's one of the we'll call it a third-party repository, if you will. So for your applications, and developers can submit, Android applications to F-Droid. You can install the store and then install all of your apps on F-Droid, which is very popular for a lot of these third-party ROMs that were going on, the phones, right? They would promote F-Droid. There's other ones too, but F-Droid's probably the most prominent. and like at the same time, a lot of people would install F-Droid on actual, Google devices, if you will, too, and they'd install different apps that way as well. So I think the basic premise that Google wants to get away from and that they're saying is all of those things are like, it's ripe for spam, if you will, or malware type apps because they aren't as vetted and whatnot. But that stuff still happens in the Google Play Store just the same.
Exactly.
It's not immune to anything there. So what they're doing that is kind of killing this stuff off is forcing a registration, if you will. So you have to pay a fee, and you also have to submit your government ID in order to be eligible to have a verified Android application. And
they're doing the iOS model.
They are.
This is the way that the Apple App Store works.
And that's going to close down to basically only having the Google Play Store when you get done with all of that.
Right, because the problem here is that because F-Droid is going to be installing apps on your phone, that's where it catches. So if you don't have the Google stamp signature on the package that you're installing on your handset will say, hey, this is missing a signature. You can't have this.
It already gives you a warning. It already says this is a third-party thing. Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Exactly. But the new thing, though, is that F-Droid can't be a stand-in and sign these applications for you. They have to be blessed by Google. And by forcing this, it makes F-Droid irrelevant.
It kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, if Google has to sign everything, then what's the point of F-Droid? And I think
then you just submit it to the Google Play Store and be done with it.
Exactly. You have to jump through all those hoops anyway. And I do think this is just a way for Google to get rid of apps that they don't like. Not malware.
They don't want people going to other app stores either,
Right, right. I mean, more of the walled garden, right? But that is
the way this is going, yes. Yeah, walled garden, that's a good way to put it, yeah.
Right, because if you can't install something from F-Droid, you have to get it from Google Play. Then Google Play controls every single app that's on your phone. It's just with more steps, right? So there's no side loading. There's no nothing that it seems like that's what they're going for.
And in more than one place in the Google decree blog post, they said, to be clear, developers will have the same freedom to distribute their apps directly to users, through side loading, or to use any app store they prefer. However, they've made it really difficult, so they basically made that impossible because of the difficulty.
Right, because Google still has to stamp it. You can you can put it anywhere you want to, but if it doesn't have the Google stamp of approval, that means you can't install it.
Right.
And because you can't do that, then Google has ultimate control over whether or not your app is able to work, right? So think of apps like YouTube Vanced, I think is one of the ones that you use to get around ads and paywalls and all these kinds of weird YouTube premium things. I forget what they call their thing. But right. There's no way Google's going to sign that app. No way.
No.
So it is absolutely a way for Google to keep out any application that is not malware, is not a security risk, but is something that doesn't align with the Google ethos or something.
I guess even if you aren't killing off apps, I mean, I will say that, some of the open source ones kind of promoted F-Droid first, if you will. And so you get apps.
Why wouldn't they?
You'd get updates more frequently, and and sometimes the apps would come out there first in F-Droid rather than on the Play Store. Like I know Thunderbird was one of them. Thunderbird I actually installed initially through F-Droid, because it was there first.
Right. Yeah, because as far as I understood, F-Droid physically, the people that worked at F-Droid physically went out and said, well, let me look at your repo then. before we say that you
Yeah,
could
they
be on
did.
the
Yeah,
F-Droid
no, they
store.
vetted it. Yeah, someone
And
did.
they went and checked, and vetted it for malware, for shady
Right.
things.
Yep,
And if
yep.
it did shady things, they were like, I guess you're not going to be on F-Droid then.
Right.
Right.
It's a
And
bit more
that's
manual
more than,
probably than the Google process, but I mean, it doesn't, but like whatever. I mean, someone was actually doing the work to make sure that it was safe and secure.
right. I mean, we have a laundry list of developers that are complaining that, well, Google rejected my app because, and it always boils down to because AI looked at my code and made something up about what it did, even though it didn't. And
well, look at all the
we
Chrome
have the story,
extensions that fall into that boat.
Exactly. And this is what got Raymond Hill on the Mozilla. That's why he's not
the
dealing with
uBlock Origin. Yep.
uBlock Origin Lite got rejected a few different times, and he was like, "It's just not worth it. It's not worth it." And so you're fighting the same fight.
Yeah.
And F-Droid didn't do any of that because once you're trusted, they're going to look at the source of where you post that code, and then they're going to build it, and it's going to be great. But right, and so there's just more hurdles to do it through Google, which is why Thunderbird was able to ship faster on F-Droid than it was anywhere else.
Right.
So as far as I can tell, it's going to make life very, very difficult for F-Droid and any of the other third-party stores. And
I agree.
What do you do? Okay. So there's nothing you can do. You can beg Google to make changes or whatever, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. But this, if I am reading the situation correctly, for better or for worse, I'm on an Apple handheld, right? Like I have an Apple.
Well, yeah,
iPhone.
so you're already in the walled garden.
Right, I'm already in a walled garden. But one of the things that I was sad about when I left Google, just Android phones in general, was that I was leaving that. I was leaving the ability to sideload apps, to be able to decide what is on my device. Yeah, to be able to put on third-party ROMs and third-party applications and just issue all of the Google Play, this and that. I mean, that hurt a lot. It was very unusable at that point. But, I mean, you could if you wanted to. And when I went to an iPhone, I lost all of that. I was fully into the walled garden. But now I can feel fine. I don't have to be sad about that anymore.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat with you.
Because now all of those Android devices are now also in a full-on walled garden, and there is no real reason other than base personal preference to go one over the other.
Well, don't fret too much because it's not here just yet. I'm going to lay out the timeline a little bit for you.
Okay.
So here we are in October.
I can't gloat yet.
Not quite yet, but it's coming.
Okay.
The handwriting is on the wall. So here in October 2025, early access is beginning on this new process. So invitations are going to be sent out gradually.
Okay.
So the verification. So in March 2026, verification opens for everyone that wants to, all the developers that want to participate in this.
Okay, so we're still in the pre-times, right?
We're still in the pre. We're nothing's
you can still
forced
sideload
yet. Still good. So September 2026, so like another year from now.
That's the hammer.
The requirements are going to go into effect in Brazil, Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand. At this point, any app installed on a certified Android device in these regions must be registered by a verified developer. So that's not everybody yet, but the hammer's starting to come down. And so
you're going to see the effect.
You will, definitely. And because everybody's going to want to get on board because they want their apps to be everywhere, even in those places, Brazil, Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand. There's probably a lot of users of Android in those places, so that might be why they're targeting those first. I don't know. So until 2027 and beyond, they're going to continue to roll those requirements out globally, and that's when the hammer is down. So you got a couple of years, maybe.
Yeah,
or
I'm going to say,
give or take.
Yeah, conservatively, you've got a couple of years. Actually, me and Dan were talking about this too. A couple is 2.
That's true. It's not a few. It's a couple.
Yeah, you might disagree with me, but a couple is only 2. Ever. Only, ever 2. It is 2. The number 2, not 3, not 4. It is
No.
2. It is
You're doing
always
a few
2.
then. Yep.
Every time, right? After a couple, it's a few.
Mhm.
Anyway, so you got a couple years,
Yep. At
conservatively, before it's going to hit your handset, and you're no longer able to do it. So I mean, enjoy
While
the
you
freedom
can.
while you have it, but
for now,
unless something big is changing, this is
unless they back out on some of these
Wow.
things, and they may because they're not implemented yet, right? And they may bump into problems and delay things. That's typical. But I guess I wouldn't be counting on it if it were me, because it's really unfortunate. But it looks like this is going to go forward.
So is 2027, 2027, or 2028, that timeline right there, that is the year of the Linux handset.
Maybe.
Because it's the end of the road, right? Like, I mean, just
Yeah.
like people are expecting Windows 11 to
Well, you
Windows
say
10
that.
to
I mean,
11.
a lot of those still, they end up having ways to, jam on your Android apps on some of those Linux handsets too, to get to get you more apps. That part's going to break probably too, I would guess.
Yeah, we'll see. If F-Droid keeps on keeping on, and you have a Linux handset that will run Android applications, maybe that's F-Droid's new niche, is to be there, run my Android apps on my Linux thing.
Yeah, hopefully they can remain relevant that way, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Google backs off on all of this, right?
Well, that would be great. That would be the best, because, it's super annoying. Because, even if you don't have a store and you want to go out and just grab, a built APK and install it on your phone,
yeah,
you won't be able to do that if it's not signed either.
Right. Because Google has backed off on their big, huge initiatives, right? We were talking about the whole where they were going to auction off ad space in your browser, and then ads would have to go through the browser and not on the page or whatever. By the way, that is still kind of an answer to our first segment about
the ads?
Summaries and stuff like that. Yeah. Making ads through the browser as opposed to
the page
through web pages and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's gross.
It's a pretty novel way to do it, but I mean, if ads are here to stay, then maybe,
that's as bad as having them show up in your start menu, for crying out loud.
Yeah, seriously. But I mean, no, it is an answer. So
I guess
Google has backed off on those things before, so maybe
let's hope. Let's really hope
they'll back off on this too. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think that's where F-Droid's going with this announcement, is they're hoping that enough outcry will happen to push back on it, and at least delay, if not kick it all the way down the road.
Yeah. I mean, just promise me you won't do it until 2080, and then I'll
yeah, we're good.
We'll find all the links for all the things that we've been talking about at linuxuserspace.show. Specifically for this episode, you can go to linuxuserspace.show/602 for season 6, episode 2. And you can find all the links that we talked about today. But if you know the episode that you're talking about, you can type in the season number, the season, and then the episode number, and then find that episode as well. All the links for that episode as well. Or if you don't know which one you want, linuxuserspace.show, enter.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can find all of the episodes, all of the past episodes. You can find the audio episodes there, and links to the video version of the episode as well. Otherwise, you can just
all that stuff. Yeah,
all that stuff, or you can just go straight to youtube.com/linuxuserspace, and we're there as well. But if you want to get on the show, if you want to hear your words on the show, you can send us an email at contact@linuxuserspace.show, or the contact page on linuxuserspace.show. See, we named it contact for both, so it's always contact.
Yeah, it's
no matter where you go. Makes sense. Makes too much sense. I think so.
And so we've got a couple down here coming in the dock here.
That's right.
That have done that.
That's right. So if you want your feedback on the show, so we have feedback today, but there was more feedback, and the episode was already too big. So
yeah,
there's more feedback later. So anyway, email us at contact@linuxuserspace.show, or go to linuxuserspace.show and click on contact so that you can get your words on the show, and then we'll have ourselves a little conversation about it.